In today's Leeds news, Elland Road global investment, Stach sets sights on survival, Leeds eye Celtic winger, Leeds considering Ramazani recall, and Forest issues for Leeds visit. Morning folks, welcome back to the Leeds View, Tuesday morning the 4th of November with your Leeds United news. A lot of people were asking about these shirts that we were giving away a couple of weeks ago. They are now available on a limited run over on back4clothing.com. You can check the link out down below if you want to go and get them. They're available in yellow, they're available in white, and they're available in royal blue and navy blue as well. If you want to pick them up, you can. Also, if you could just hype and like the video, it helps. It really does. I hate asking, but it does help us an awful lot, and we are still navigating this tricky YouTube period. But there's a lot of news to get stuck into today. Some interesting parts coming into the weekend's action, and we got an update on the Elland Road meeting last week and investment in the stadium, as well as answering some questions that have come in over the past week or so. Leeds Live has done a very good comprehensive breakdown on the council's meeting last week, and Leeds believe that a £200 million global capital investment will be put into Elland Road, as well as taking the appropriate steps to ease the council's fear around transport concerns. The work on Elland Road will be carried out in the summer as well as over the next 2 seasons on the West Stand, similar to how Liverpool handled the Anfield redevelopment. This work will be done around the existing stands in an attempt to minimise capacity drops during that time, but there will be some disruption to the matchday experience, although Leeds are hoping to minimise those concerns. £200 million will be needed to go into the project, and those funds will be raised through increased investment in the football club. A lot of people have been asking about the Elland Road redevelopment and the funds and how they will impact Leeds on the PSR side of things. And the Elland Road redevelopment will not impact Leeds United's PSR situation, as stadium infrastructure spending is excluded from the PSR calculation. The exemption is said to be designed to encourage clubs to put long-term investment into their assets, such as Thorpe Arch, as well as Elland Road. This means that Leeds could spend on Elland Road with no impact to their current squad spending or PSR situation. Leeds also believe that the £200 million would also be quickly recouped with an increase in ticket sales given the increased capacity, as well as enhancing the club's appeal to sponsors and investors worldwide. There are questions over Leeds United's league status and will they impact on Leeds' chances to redevelop the stadium, and according to Leeds, they will absolutely be going ahead with this project, and the designs and feasibility work is already well underway. £10 million has already gone into the Leeds United Elland Road redevelopment. So Leeds league status, whether it's Championship or Premier League, doesn't seem to have any impact on the redevelopment of Elland Road. And again, given the PSR situation, Leeds will be raising the money separately. Shouldn't be an issue regardless. So we should be able to look forward to the Elland Road redevelopment regardless of what happens with Leeds league status. Let's move on. And Leeds United midfielder Anton Stach has outlined his primary ambition for the rest of this season, and that is securing Premier League survival. Sunderland's chairman went on Sky Sports yesterday and said that their goals for this season were to finish 10th in the Premier League. Leeds' goals are said to be far more modest. It's just about surviving and staying in the Premier League this season, become established and progress year after year. The German has not started Leeds' last 2 games, and a lot of that was due to the fact that he was carrying a rib injury and has a broken finger. But he looked back to himself when he came off the bench again against Brighton at the weekend, and Stach said recently that Leeds will want to go far this season, but they need to take things on a game-by-game basis, as well as momentum being important. And Leeds will need to kick in that momentum with the Nottingham Forest game this weekend. And Stach could be recalled to Leeds starting 11 going into the weekend game, but we think we can all agree that a change of approach will be needed by Leeds this weekend. Leeds need to move away from playing out from the back as well as the possession base. That's Leeds didn't recruit for that type of football. Leeds need to revert back to a more direct style of football that worked and was effective against the likes of Everton, Newcastle, Bournemouth, the first half against West Ham United, as well as part of the game against Spurs. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's aerial duel stats suggest that he wins more aerial duels than he loses, with the odd exception. Leeds wingers need to tuck in and get closer to him and play off that, and Leeds need to play higher up. Again, Leeds statistics show that they are far better pressing from the front than they are sitting at the back. So a change of style or a reversion of style back to how Leeds were starting the season, with that more physical, aggressive style and a more direct line of play to play to your strengths and avoid the weaknesses in the Leeds United game. But the players will need to also step up next weekend and give Leeds United every chance of getting some points against Nottingham Forest and easing some of the pressure around the place heading into the international break. Let's move on. Interesting story coming out of Scotland, and according to the Daily Record in Scotland, as well as Maghreb Foot, they both suggest that Leeds are said to be monitoring Celtics Tunisian winger Celtics Tounekti. Leeds are reportedly being impressed with the player's pace, his directness and his technical ability, which has helped Celtic to ease some of their injury concerns this season when Dusan Maeda has been unavailable. The report says that Leeds are considering a potential summer move or a January move for this player, as Leeds need to reinforce the wide areas. Tounekti won't be an easy get for Leeds United. He's been decent for Celtic so far this season. He's got a contract until 2030. And his price tag is said to be more than the £3 million that Celtic paid for him during the summer. The other question on this is, does he tick the 49ers recruitment boxes, and is he what Leeds need right now to fix the issues that we've got? The answers to these questions are simple. There's a yes and there's a no. So from his age profile, his style of play, they would absolutely tick an awful lot of the boxes that the 49ers want to bring in to the squad. But the issue here is, he's a right-footed player who prefers to play on the left and cut inside onto his right foot. And Leeds are screaming out for a right-sided player who can cut onto his left foot and pop shots away and create some chances. So that, for me, means there's probably a bigger issue in this. He might very well be a summer target for Leeds United. He is an exciting player. He's young enough as well. He's got plenty of potential ahead of him. But right now, he's not exactly what Leeds are looking for. And Leeds will need to be very specific about what they bring in the summer. We'll have a chat about this over the course of the weekend after the Nottingham Forest game is out of the way and into the international break, of looking what sacrifices do Leeds potentially need to make during the January transfer window in order to bring in the players they need to fix the issues that the squad has right now. So for me, this one seems slightly unlikely at this point, especially given the January needs, but possibly something that Leeds United will look for further down the line. Let's move on and talk to an interesting story coming out of Spain today, and that's about largely Ramazani. This is a mixed bag. There's some mixed reports on this. Some of them aren't credible, some are slightly more credible. I'll try and break it down for you and give it to you in that kind of information. But Leeds United approved the loan of largely Ramazani to Valencia in the summer when they believed that Brighton's Facundo Buonanotte was on his way to Elland Road. As we know, Buonanotte didn't get on his flight. That deal never happened. But Ramazani was already gone to Valencia. But Leeds did insert a recall clause in Ramazani's loan deal, and apparently that's now being reviewed. According to some of the reports going around, some of these are not credible, some of them are. I'll give you the breakdown. The reports coming via caught offside from Yardbreaker are fairly loose and fairly inaccurate. They say that Leeds United are looking at bringing Ramazani back to help with Leeds' wide options after January and give Leeds more options on both wings. However, Football League World, who I've done a little bit of work for in the past, who are slightly more credible, have a different take on this. They claim that Leeds United will recall Ramazani due to his lack of game time in La Liga. Ramazani's only played 80 odd minutes so far this season for Valencia, who have their own sets of problems in La Liga, but he is out most of this, and he is out with a thigh injury, and that's been the main reason why he hasn't played as much as he would have liked. He hasn't got a clean run at the season so far this year at La Liga. But FLW claimed that Leeds would look to loan him out again should they recall him in January. The report says that Coventry, Hull and Norwich are all said to be interested in the winger, and Leeds would be interested in a championship loan for the player to keep a closer eye on him. The minimum of this states that Leeds United are said to be actively monitoring the situation around largely Ramazani, and they will make a decision on his future and his short-term future in the coming weeks. He's had a difficult situation at Valencia. He hasn't got goal, and the injuries have been an issue for him as well. When he has been available, he's looked decent for them, but he hasn't done a huge amount outside of his debut. He got an assist straight away. Interestingly enough, Leeds have predominantly played Ramazani on the left-hand side, coming onto his right foot. Valencia played him on the right-hand side. He got an assist pretty much immediately as well. So maybe Leeds need to look at a slightly different approach, and if they are going to revert back to a more direct approach, flick-ons from Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a player like Ramazani running onto it with his right foot, or direct crosses in from the end line for Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Lucas Meche, could definitely be an avenue that Leeds could look at after January. But yeah, it looks like there will be a review of what's going on with largely Ramazani moving into the next couple of weeks. Let's move on to the final story of today, and it's all about the Nottingham Forest clash this weekend, and everyone's focus now shifts to Sunday's game against Forest, which won't be easy given their mini turnaround in form under new manager Sean Dyche, but they will be without several important players, and that's not a guarantee that Leeds will have an easier day at the City Ground. Brighton were without 7 players. A lot of them would be considered starters in their squad, and they handled Leeds with relative ease. However, a player that Leeds United did target in the summer and wanted to bring in the summer won't be available for them this weekend. According to the YEP, Forest will be without goalkeeper Angus Gunn, fullback Alexander Zinchenko, Ola Aina, as well as Leeds United's target Dylan Bakwa. Bakwa's missed their last few matches due to injury and is said to miss out on this weekend's action as well. We'll have to wait until the press conference happens this week. We'll have the stats pack out on Friday evening, which will give you the detail on team news from both sides, as well as the statistics coming into the game as well. You can check that out later in the week. We will have a podcast tonight as well to discuss this game, as well as looking back at the weekend's action and what Leeds United need to change and to get more out of the group of players they've got right now. Falling over my words today, sorry. But yeah, there's a bit of work to be done for the weekend's action, so we'll see how they get on. But you can check out the podcast tonight, 7 o'clock as normal, and we will look back and just talk about what do Leeds need to do, what's the changes that need to happen. There's always something that you can do. You should never sit back and accept things the way they are. Players have got a lot of responsibility to try and step up performances in this game, as well as Daniel Farke may need to revisit his tactics or at least his approach to the game coming into the weekend's action. Stuff needs to change. We'll see if we can do it against Nottingham Forest and try and get something coming out of the weekend's game before the international break. We'll have a lot of regular news over the international break. We'll have a deeper look back at Leeds' season so far in the first 11 games at that point, as well as having a talk around what the strengths and weaknesses of this Leeds United squad are over the next couple of weeks, folks. That'll be it for me this morning. I'll see you tonight on the podcast. Back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.